Hello, we are live, and I guess we'll get started. So, I'm Katrina Redden. I lead sales at Comsor, and I'm also one of the co-hosts of Ashley and Katrina's Infinite Revenue Playlist, a podcast all about elevating women in revenue. And I'm really excited to be here with Leslie Greenwood and Melissa Moody today, the two founders of Wednesday Women. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
Hi, Katrina. Thanks for hosting today. We are so excited to have your hostess abilities on our LinkedIn Live today.
Well, I am so honored that you both asked me to do this. I think it was very, very appropriate given everything that I stand for. And I'm just so happy to be here with you both.
Yeah.
But so I say we should get started. And I think we should all start with telling us a little bit more about why exactly we're all here.
Absolutely. So I'm going to kick it off a little bit because I might have been the impetus for doing a LinkedIn Live. I said, as we're getting toward the end of the year, we should take a moment to celebrate some of the incredible things that have happened with Wednesday Women. So if you don't know, and I'm going to show the mug here, Wednesday Women was established in 2023. This was the year that Wednesday Women started. So if you're new to our initiative or new to the movement, we kicked things off in 2023. And we have done a lot since then, but I want to start by saying that we've done a lot by doing a little. So that's kind of one of our big messages as a group is executive women leaders are extraordinarily busy in today's world. Not only are a lot of us managing companies, leading companies, driving investments, but we're also at home raising kids in many cases. We also have a lot of side hustles and projects. Everybody who's out there knows just how capable and busy executive women leaders are. And so part of the reason that we want to celebrate small wins and little achievements along the way is because we believe that those small ripples can make really, really big waves. And so the intent for today is to talk a little bit about what the small ripples were this year and talk about what some of the waves are that are coming for next year, ideally. Leslie, do you want to tell us a little bit more, maybe revisit the mission for anybody on the LinkedIn Live who doesn't know exactly?
Sure. And then I was going to say small ripples and little wins is like, we actually are live. This worked. Who knew? So yeah, we're definitely going for it. Our mission is to, elevate executive women leaders, help them get in more LinkedIn feeds, get them on podcasts, keynote speaking, on panels, et cetera. So just more visibility so that their, expertise can shine. And then, with the hope that one day, just to give away our grand vision, one day someone says, I need another women's speaker. And like, oh, of course, I'll go to Wednesday Women. That's the place to go. So, that's our mission.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm going to need a Wednesday Women mug. I feel a little left out with your matching hoodies and the mugs.
It may be already on the way to you. We didn't quite make it. So quick shout outs. We've got Wednesday Women mugs, and we want to give a shout out to our lead and awesome sponsor, Comsor, for our sweet purple on brand hoodies.
Amazing. And I also just want to comment on kind of the mission you both just shared of one, I think it's amazing. And two, it's also very necessary because I think there's a lot of really amazing groups out there today that elevate and support women, but we already know that we're awesome and amazing and deserve leadership in speaking slots. So I think it's really amazing that you guys are being proactive in finding those opportunities for these busy women executives that I know deserve this and really want it as well. So thank you for what you're doing. Yeah. And obviously we're on a LinkedIn Live, not on my podcast. However, for those that have watched our podcast or listened, whatever, in the past, you'll know that we have a little bit of a musical twist to it. We typically ask our guests to pick a walk-up song that either describes them as a professional, maybe it relates to the topic of conversation, maybe it's just something that gets them jazzed for work. Leslie and Melissa have not yet been on the podcast, but they're both scheduled. We're recording with them in 2024. Exciting. So this is a little bit of a spoiler alert, but if you both could pick a walk-up song today, what would it be and why?
I picked We Will Rock You by Queen.
There it is.
I picked it because that's what we're here for. We're here to just highlight more women rocking it out.
Love it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Showing up like a rock star. I love that.
Yes.
I picked, mine's a little different, but here it comes. I'll tell you what it is. Wait for it. So I'll tell you, it's got a slightly ironic name. It is by my all-time favorite band, but the song is called The Man. And it's all about being everything you want to be and showing up as you are. And it's not just about men being men. It's about any one of us being the man. So
Love it.
that's mine. It's a good one.
Those are both perfect, and they're being added to the playlist as we speak.
Yeah, they're very good.
Thank you.
I have to ask, Katrina, have you recently been asked what your walk-up song would be? I hope everyone, actually, quick pause. If you're watching LinkedIn Live, drop in the chat what your walk-up songs would be. I want to know like what our audience is listening to. But have you been asked recently what yours is?
Not recently. So both Ashley Coggill, who's my fellow co-host, and I originally shared our walk-up songs on the very first episode, and I picked a very cheesy one of How Far I'll Go from the movie Moana, if anyone knows that one.
So good.
However, as a Swiftie, kind of my backup one is also The Man, but the Taylor Swift version. So very similar kind of like message to what you just shared of like, you know, if a woman was a man, she wouldn't deal with kind of the hypocrisy and kind of double standards, and she could do whatever she wanted, which obviously is kind of the whole point of what we're doing, just elevating women and supporting them to do whatever the heck they want. So I thought it was very appropriate.
I love that both of ours are The Man, and they're both empowering songs.
I love it. So why don't we talk about the story of Wednesday Women? Because I know the name has been popping up a bunch. I'm sure a lot of you on the LinkedIn Live have seen it on your feeds. Maybe someone's tagged you in it. Maybe you've seen a woman that's been featured in one of their posts. But you guys haven't been around that long, as you said. You were founded this year in 2023. And I personally would love to know kind of the story of how this all began in the first place.
Sure. I will definitely take that one. So I think it's about a year and a half ago, I decided, I'm looking at my feed and I'm like, where are the women founders and CEOs in my feed? And so I'm like, okay, who are the women CEO and founders that I would, that I should be following? And I mean, for me, it blew up. And so, so many people were tagged in there. I'm like, okay, great. Now I've connected with everybody, but what am I going to do? So I think I got out the Google spreadsheet and started filling in, LinkedIn's and then putting their names and everything. And then after that one, I got smart and hired someone from Fiverr to do it for me. But it's like, once you started looking for that, they kept coming up. And so I would see them here and there. And then I would just send the Fiverr guy after that post to fill all that information in. Eventually, once I got to about 100 women, I think I started dropping the my early stage startup Google sheet, which, I love. And I just started dropping the Google sheet. I'm like, oh, you want more women to follow? Here you go. Here's a list. I've got 100 or I got 150 or whatever. And so we really literally started as a Google sheet. One day, Melissa, I think, asked almost the same question. I don't know if it was founders or another set of women leaders. And I dropped the Google sheet in her comments. I'm like, here you go. Here's a list. And I guess I can't swear the exact, I'd have to go back and look in our DMs, but I'm pretty sure she DM'd me and said, do you always want this to live in a Google sheet? Because I got some ideas. She might have even said, I got some crazy ideas, because that is, if you've ever worked with Melissa Moody, that is the key phrase, that something brilliant is about to come out. So we hopped on, a Zoom, met each other for the first time. We'd circled around each other. And then I think in that first call, we'd agreed that maybe we wouldn't go ahead and get a HubSpot instance just yet, but that Melissa had already bought a domain, created the name of the company, built the LinkedIn page.
Most Melissa Moody story I've ever heard.
Oh, I mean, it's so funny because I'm like, there's WednesdayWomen.co is available. And she goes, oh, I already bought WednesdayWomen.org. I'm like, I love you. We can work together, because I'm an executor and she is an executor. And it was just like, it was amazing. And so that started in April. And then we decided we would just it's just her and I. So like true startup, like we each had other jobs. We both have families. So it's like in the back basement closet at 10 p.m., she's knocking out carousels and I'm trying to post on LinkedIn in a timely manner, which is ADD makes that almost impossible. So that's what we were doing, one post a week. And that was in April. And then fast forward to August, we're like, people are like, something's happening here. Like maybe, we're going to pump it up a notch. And that's when we formed an actual business. And that's probably where most people have found us. And we're pushing 3,000 followers on our business page in less than 8 months with no, like we've not advertised, we've not done anything. And, we are just at the start of our plans. I'm like, imagine when we can actually like put our full brains into this. And it's just amazing to see. I'll stop there. So I get really excited
that that this is really needed. The fact that you've done, I don't want to say the bare minimum because that's not the case. You two are both working very hard on this, but you're not, as you said, putting as much time in as you would like to. Mm-hmm. And this is already happening. It's clearly wanted by a lot of people.
And one of the things that's really beautiful is, we have, as we both have kind of full-time jobs, we have time to give to this, but we do it very intentionally. We think about what would really make an impact for not spinning our wheels. I think a lot of times, people fall into things and they do everything and they do more than they have time for, and they get overwhelmed and they burn out. I mean, as a podcast host, Katrina, you know that podcasts always end because people go out too big and then they can't keep it up. And so I think we're very intentional with what we do, which I think is important. And the second thing that's been really awesome, and if anybody out there on the call, I can't see all the LinkedIn names, is one of these people, big thank you. We've had a lot of people step up and say, what can I do to help? How can I contribute? And so just a quick shout out to, I won't go into names right now. We'll call them out individually after this, but the incredible amount of people that have said, give me some way to help. Some of them have gone in and helped clean up our HubSpot instance. Some of them have gone through this 800-person list of nominated women and helped us see who matches the criteria. Some of them have built branding guidelines for us completely pro bono. It's really been impressive what people have brought to the table without even being asked. They just showed up and said, how can I contribute? And some of those are incredible executive women leaders. Some of them are amazing men with 2 daughters at home that they want to set the example for. It's been a wonderful thing to see how people really bring their skills to bear. So thank you to everyone who's put their hands in the pot so far. Hopefully at least every one of them is either getting cookies or a mug.
I just also want to add for Melissa and I, because obviously we're both 145% people, like the ripple is also a reminder for us. Mm-hmm. So when we have our meetings every week, we think, okay, let's do our ripple this week. We get all these grand ideas of all the things that we could do. It's like, okay, pull back and let's just make our small ripple this week. And then also shout out to everyone who tags us in posts, alerts us of feeds that we should be in. I mean, like besides the actual manual work people are offering to do for us, like they're helping us with visibility. And, that's what we're all about, is making more visibility for the women that we feature. Sorry, I interrupted you, Katrina. But
no, I was just going to say that the cookies that you sent out were amazing. So thank you for those. And it sounds like it's a truly community-led growth company, which is amazing because obviously it's all meant for the women executive community. So it's great to see people getting involved. So appreciate you sharing kind of the background context and kind of the story of how it founded, where it's going. Let's kind of talk about what's going on currently, like the latest happenings. What are some of the most notable things you want to share with those listening that the company's accomplished so far in 2023?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll kick it off. I'll maybe just start with the women that we actually have been able to feature. So there are really 2 women right now, or 2 types of women that have been huge to our success. The first is, first and foremost, the women that we feature in our LinkedIn feed. That's where it all started. And if you're not already following these women, they are spectacular. I feel so lucky because personally, I'm benefiting from the initiative. Some days I know the women that we feature, and other days they're completely new to me. And they're maybe in an industry that I don't touch regularly, but they're inspiring, they are leading, they are very authentic. That's one of the characteristics we always select women on, is are they sharing more than just the Instagram perfection of being a leader, right? These are women who are real. They are overcoming challenges. They are approaching their job with a very unique perspective. So those featured women, and then in combination with that, we have this incredible list of almost 1,000 nominated women. You would be shocked at how many extraordinary leaders there are. So one of the things I think that's been very notable this year is just the exposure to, and then really starting to get the ball rolling on sharing these women. So featured, and then, bringing together and starting to activate the nominated women as well. Leslie, how about you? What are
and those nominated women, they've probably been, many of them were tagged in many posts. And so that's one of the Fiverr guys' jobs, was to make sure it's not duplicated. Our list would probably be close to 2,000 if every time someone nominated, they got on the list, but we never deduped. Yeah. So just to say something about them getting nominated over and over again, which is really amazing. One of the stories I think I'll share, which was a great story for a couple of reasons. One, it was the first time I met Melissa, was at the Pavilions GTM event in Nashville.
And Katrina.
Oh, and Katrina. Yes, I met Katrina and Mac for the first time.
Nice purple hoodies.
Absolutely. And then I'll tell you a quick founder funny story on that one too. But, we knew that we were going to have about 5 Wednesday women in attendance. And so, we should meet them in person and just thank them for their time, raise a toast, etc. So we just sent a calendar invite meet us in front of the sign on Wednesday at 5:00. Happy hour starts at 5:15. So just meet us there. We just want to meet you, etc. But then we said, bring a friend. When we showed up, what we saw was, it was probably a group of 25 to 30, Melissa, that ended up showing there.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. I mean, just women that showed up, or they either, heard about it from someone, or they walked past and they saw, what's this going on? And it turned into this intimate circle of people sharing, what their experience has been as a woman leader. I would say 3/4 of them had never had a woman leader that they'd reported to. And it was just really moving to hear the stories. And then afterwards, we just heard so many people came back to us and said, that was almost the most moving and amazing part of the entire event, was being part of that circle. And then so many people shared it. And, I talk about evangelism a lot, but it's just evangelism happened and popped up. And then there was so much sharing going on, and just really, again, that was kind of the second thing that was oh, if we can do this by just doing a calendar invite with 5 people on it. And then I did go downstairs 45 minutes before to create a signature cocktail and bribe the front desk staff to bring it up to us. If we can do this kind of event with, again, kind of like the way we started Wednesday Women, and it be such a memorable event and so moving for so many people, it's what else could we do? So
the real question is, what was the signature cocktail?
Oh, I get to talk about it. I love it. Yeah. So we knew 2 things. We knew it needed to be uplifting and bubbly, and we knew it needed to be purple. So, a very well-loved and very simple and, not too fancy frou-frou drink. That's the other piece it needed to be, was easy, simple, is essentially a Kir Royale, which is the bubbly Prosecco or champagne and a little bit of cassis. And we also have a non-alcoholic recipe on our blog as well. So we go, no matter what anybody wants, but we call it the Ripple. We actually came up at that event with the name the Ripple. So the Ripple is going to make an ongoing appearance at any Wednesday Women event for sure.
So for anyone listening, if you would like to try the Ripple, you better attend one of the Wednesday Women events.
Yep. Or go get the recipe on the blog.
True. And just a quick side note for anyone out there that's founded a company or had a co-founder before, Melissa and I, since we are about 140%, we decided not only would we meet each other in Nashville, but we would be roommates. So we passed also the roommate test, and important test. Maybe that's how all co-founders should decide if they actually want to work together, is be roommates.
Although we are over a certain age, and so we decided it would definitely be not a shared room test. We were in 2 bed. I mean, once you get to be an adult,
boundaries.
It was a very nice 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo. I don't share rooms or bathrooms. Sorry.
That's fair. That is fair. So let's talk about the women that you are featuring, because you just said that you have a list of 1,000 people. It could be 2,000, 3,000. I'm sure people get nominated every day. And I'm sure it's very difficult to pick every woman you feature because there's so many amazing ones to pick from. So I have to ask, has there been one featured woman that's made a real difference in both of your individual lives?
Yeah. I'll go first. There are two. Abby Williams is one. She's an executive coach. She works with CEOs, fractional CRO, but she really has become like an informal coach to me. So like I've asked questions to her. She's helped me craft some I don't want to call them pitches, but like, how am I going to talk to someone about sponsorship that's at a larger corporation? I have only small business experience. So she has really just, made an impact on me personally and professionally. And then of course, Stephanie Valenti, who, amazing CRO, COO, now an operator and head of revenue at a booming med spa in a wholly different industry. And I love seeing her resilience and how much she learns and teaches and gives to everybody.
I'm also going to have to pick two because I feel like 2 out of 1,000 is the least we can do. There are so many I know that mean a lot to us and made a difference for us. I would say I would love to call out two who I'm constantly looking to for inspiration. When I think of how I want to show up, how I want to show up as a leader, how I want to show up as a marketer, how I want to show up as a human, there are two that have constantly been on my list of, wow, I wish I could be like them. Now, part of what's so wonderful about both of them is that they're also extremely approachable. I feel like I can lean on them as peers. So the first is Carrie Sanderson. She's an absolutely brilliant CMO, and her way of leading is so calm and thoughtful. It may be the complement to my sometimes excitable approach, but Carrie is an inspiration and she really knows her stuff. I think there's one thing I love about the women that we feature, that they aren't just faceplates. They have deep, deep expertise and huge amounts of knowledge. And if you want to think about a brilliant marketer, Carrie is one to follow. The other for me is the beloved of many, but I'm also going to call her beloved, is Samantha McKenna, founder and leader of Sam Sales Consulting. Sam is not only exceedingly skilled at what she does from a sales perspective, she delivers value for sellers that is undeniable, but she also is creating a company that is an inspiration for me, is how I want to be a leader, how I want to bring the team around me up with the business itself, not just driving revenue, but really building a team that is an unforgettable, experience for the people on the team and an effective machine. So huge love for Carrie and Sam from me, for sure.
I love that. And Sam is actually the only one on that list that I know, but I will go follow the other three immediately. And I just want to echo how amazing she is, especially for just being a role model of uplifting other women too. So
yes,
understand fully why she's on your list.
Yes.
Yep.
And one more question about the women you are both featuring. That might be a little more challenging, but who do you think is one of the featured women that will definitely be someone to watch in 2024?
Ooh, I've got one that I'm going to put as two, because we featured two women who actually started a company together in the last few months. And if you're not paying attention to Alexis Rivera Scott and Brianna Doe, they have just built essentially a marketing agency more broadly called Verbatim. They also have a spinoff called Influence by Verbatim. It's about using LinkedIn to create social selling flywheel. But they are both absolutely talented marketers, leaders, coaches. They do a lot in the professional development space. So definitely I would keep an eye on what Alexis and Bria are doing. How about you, Lacey?
I'm punting. I've got to remain neutral in this one. There's so many people that are running through my mind right now that would and could, be the one to watch or anything. But I'm gonna stay neutral. But I think all of them have the amazing. Yeah, it's just amazing.
But we'll give it to you.
Thank you for letting me cop out. You're just like keeping my friends happy. I appreciate it.
Of course. So obviously you two are the masterminds behind Wednesday Women, but there are a lot of people now getting involved and helping, as you said, both pro bono, sponsors. Let's talk about your partners, and tell us a little bit more about who has supported you so far and how they're helping to bring the initiative to life.
Yeah. So a couple of shout outs. Recently we have 2 people come on board who bring skills that any marketing team would love. So one, a shout out to Sonoma Jean. She's doing some brand guidelines for us. And another one, Faith Walker, showed up. They both have full-time day jobs, and Faith is a front-end engineer, and they both said, is there any way we can help? Now we're just starting to roll with them, but people showing up with skills like that is important. A little more generally, I just want to name a few marketers who in their above and beyond time have been supporting us, and we really see them as more of advisors than anything else. But the main one that I want to call out, who has brought a lot of his time and effort to this, is a man named Victor Lin. He's a brilliant GTM strategist. I've worked with him in other companies, and he is definitely a behind the scenes powerhouse for us getting a lot of things done. There are a few other names. Elizabeth Blass is another amazing woman who has stepped up, again, outside of their day-to-day job, to bring their expertise and support the mission. So we're very lucky to have those folks. Leslie, do you want to talk about our partners? Because there's a partner we'd like to shout out.
Wait, who was that? I mean, I don't know.
I feel like I should be wearing mine for this moment. But.
Yeah, Melissa and I were texting beforehand. I'm like, what do you think about wearing this? I'm going on my flight later, and I usually wear my ComStore hoodie on a flight, and I'd like not to change. And I think it'd be great. She's like, oh, it is purple. So we totally went for it. But yeah, our inaugural partner obviously is ComStore. I've known Mac and Katrina more recently Katrina, through like the community industry for some time. We've had some great conversations, and then really it goes back to Nashville and meeting in person and having our great dinner together. And I think understanding not only that, your business is focused on this human to human connection. How do we get people to interact with each other? How do we bring that to market that makes sense for, businesses, et cetera? Just like it really resonates about the way that Melissa and I think about how we're building Wednesday Women. Plus, just like you understand, sorry. I mean, you just understand, like, you are not, ComStore is not, they didn't want to just slap a logo on it. It is, let's really be partners. And that's how we're looking at it. It's like, let's be partners and help each other, grow. And so I have really appreciated that about ComStore. They are our title sponsor. And, the first ones to really believe that this scrappy little company that started as a Google Sheet last year, and became a company literally 2 months before we met you in person, were willing to, go on this journey with us. And we really appreciate it.
Of course. I will say, as representing ComStore on this call, it was a no-brainer for us to work with you. One, obviously the mission is super important and we all believe in it, but just you two as people as well. Anything you touch, I know will be successful and turn to gold. So we're very, very excited to be partnering with you and to see this grow and wherever it might go.
Thank you. We appreciate you. Really do.
So let's talk about the future of where this is going. You've obviously, I'm very impressed with how much has been accomplished since April, right? That's the inception date. Especially since this is not a full-time job for either of you, although it might feel like it. But everyone wants to know, what is coming in 2024? What can we expect?
Well, I can't wait to tell you one of the things. So I love in-person events. Like, that is my jam. If I could get paid to just go to conferences all the time. I actually thought about a job as a professional wing woman. So I go with shy founders and I go introduce them to all the right people they need to know. Like, I could totally do that. So it's in person is our next thing. So we are officially announcing 2 things later this week. One is our first event we're holding in the San Francisco Bay Area in January, on January 24th. Will be our inaugural event, minus our amazing event that we accidentally had at GTM. And we picked that because it's halfway between Melissa and I, since I'm in Texas and she's in Alaska. So that's a little bit of why we picked that geo first. So we're going to have an evening and not just your regular kind of dinner, talk very prescribed conversation facilitated with a give and a get that each participant will walk away with. And so I'm really excited about that. And then just a little pre-shout out to another one of our announcements this week is announcing our second sponsor, which is Aptivio, and they are sponsoring our first dinner. So you'll hear much more about that this week. So that's what I'm super excited about.
And I've just dropped just this week, it's open. If anybody is interested in attending that event, we're taking any and all applications to attend, and then we're going to be letting people know probably before, close to the end of this month, a final note for everybody who will be able to attend that. So it is going to be a limited event. If you want to go, definitely get your RSVP in. I posted the event page on the LinkedIn page. I'll make sure it's there later since we're busy here on the go-to. But yes, thanks to Aptivio for being excited about the in-person event and stepping up to support that and make it happen. We appreciate them greatly. Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic event and lots of Ripple drinks to be expected.
Certainly the Ripple will be there.
So true.
The other thing I'll say, there's maybe a few more things I'll tee up. The other thing I'll say is we have long thought about, remember that Google sheet that Leslie would drop in everybody's comments? We've long thought about how to make that into an easier self-serve resource for people, making it easy for people when they say, boy, I need a women sales leader on the East Coast to come and speak at one of my keynotes. Let's make it really, really easy for anyone to find that person. We all know we have our networks and we want to build those networks and grow them, but sometimes you just don't have the right person within your first degree connections. And so this is going to be one more way to allow those kind of searchability of extraordinary leaders. We think it's one more way to raise the visibility of women who are already out there kicking butt in their areas of expertise. So keep an eye out for kind of a directory, for lack of better words. It should be coming in the first part of the year. And then
everyone, no excuses for not having women on your panels anymore.
Totally. We want to get rid of that excuse.
Totally wasn't going to add that at the end. Thank you, Katrina.
So sorry.
I want to add just one thing there is like one of the things that we talk about is that, we're not going to ask, we ask very little from the women we feature.
Mm-hmm.
Fill out a little form, like and comment on the post. Same thing with the directory. Like it's serving value to the women that we feature without that ask in return. And the directory is one more example of us living out that particular value of our company.
I love it. And you can expect me to forward that directory to everyone I come in contact with. So
thank you.
Excited for that to launch.
Yeah.
So obviously we've talked about all the little ripples that have happened in 2023. We know you're going to be making big waves next year. There's a lot to look forward to between the in-person events, the directory, all the women you're featuring. So I think it's appropriate to end this call with maybe doing a little toast with whatever we have available around us. I have an iced coffee.
It's still morning here, so we've got our Wednesday women mugs and some
water.
By the way, if anyone's noticed that Melissa's background slowly went from pitch black to actually daylight throughout this call. So
it's not a filter.
But yeah, let's talk about the ripple and make a toast.
Oh. Yeah. Well, the ripple is, Leslie, you can't drink before the toast.
I know.
Ooh, party foul.
We will kind of toast in the honor of the ripple. Here is to everyone on the call being able to do very small things. And yes, Precious, we're glad you have 7-Up. That's bubbly. That's a great drink to have in hand. Here is to all of us, men and women alike, everyone who's out there busy and leading in the world. Here's to doing a few more small things in 2024 that we know are going to have a big, big impact as time goes forward. So here's to everyone doing a little something small in the year ahead. Thanks to everyone who supported Wednesday Women. We are so, so, so grateful for you.
And thank you for asking me to host this. This was amazing. I'm so excited to see where Wednesday Women goes. I know there are big, big things ahead in 2024.
I'll finish by saying if anyone in 2024, one thing that would continue to help us is if anyone sees a spot where Wednesday Women could show up really easily, a newsletter, a podcast, a stage, definitely let us know, because part of what we're doing is just growing awareness in the year ahead. So thank you to everyone and keep us in mind.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Katrina, for hosting.
Thanks, Katrina.
You're amazing.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.